to order. Welcome, everyone. Tom is on a flight right now, so I am stepping up for the night. I want to start by welcoming our newest school committee member, Laura Jurgovich. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And congratulations to Tom, who was reelected. So welcome.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here to work with the whole group. Looking forward to it.
Well, we're glad to have you. So tonight, we will start with public comment. If anyone has anything to share that is not already on the agenda tonight, then we will do the consent agenda. We will do reports. We have our students here tonight, which is always awesome. And then for new business, we will get an update on the school resource officers, the children's cabinet, math pathways update. We will vote on the last day of school. We will also vote to approve a couple scholarships and hopefully adjourn at a reasonable hour. Does anyone have anything for public comment tonight? No, okay. You want to make a motion?
Yeah, I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second. Does anyone have any comments or feedback on the consent agenda? Nope. All in favor? Okay, that passes 5-0. All right, reports. Let's start with our students.
Hello. Please forgive my disheveled appearance. I just came from a tennis match to a pasta party straight here, so I've not been able to change.
Busy life.
Yeah, I do have a busy life, actually. For updates, the winter drama competition, RMHS, is moving on to the next level of competition after an amazing performance preliminary round in Wayland last weekend. Several awards were earned by RMHS students to include Stage Managers Award given by the host school for technical excellence, All-Star Company Awards given by the judges for standout work and performances, Assistant Director Jason Walsh, Lighting Design TJ Corwin, acting via Cuna, acting again for Bella Boyden, acting again for Meredith Harrington. If you're wishing to see the next round of the competition, we'd love to have your laughter and support in the audience. The most recent affinity group that the school, school committee participated in this week was with Barbara Best, representatives from the Reading Coalition. The college fair also recently took place, in which over 120 colleges and universities were present. The field house was full of students and parents from Reading and surrounding communities. Spring athletic tryouts began, and spring sports are in session. So tennis. Is this the right one?
Yeah.
I guess, okay. Just making sure. So spring sports include baseball, softball, tennis, outdoor track, boys and girls, and lacrosse, boys and girls. And then school counselors have met with their students on their caseload this week, and last week to plan out course selections for 2025 to 2026. And then the RMHS DECA has had an amazing performance at this state competition. As a result, 5 students will move on to the international competition in Orlando, Florida in April.
One more update, as what happened this week, we had Arts Fest at the high school. That was a big success. We had the middle school and high school choirs, bands, jazz bands, and a lot of other art pieces from across all the grades. Some quick upcoming events, also junior prom happened just a couple days ago. And I know Sachi can probably speak more to that as a junior.
I didn't go.
Never mind. But I'm sure I heard a lot of great things from the juniors. Said it was a really great experience.
Yeah.
A few upcoming important announcements. There's going to be an Alice drill, the second one of the school year, on the 16th of April. On the 2nd of May, there's going to be a Winchester Hospital career panel talking about careers in healthcare for all students to attend if they want to. May 5th through 16th, this is a busy time. We've got AP exams coming up, so that's going to be pretty stressful, but also well-welcomed time for when it's over for the juniors and seniors. May 20th and 21st is the Math MCAS for us sophomores. May 21st is also job shadowing for the junior class, so they can go around and follow people in trades of their choice. Then some award nights coming up at the end of the month. May 21st is senior awards night, and it looks like June 3rd will be underclassmen awards night. And then lastly, the science MCAS for grade 9 will be on June 6th and June 5th. So I'm sure they're looking forward to that. Yeah, always a great time when you hear the word MCAS.
I don't have to hear that anymore.
Yeah, she's not. And that is all we have.
Awesome, thank you both. As usual, you are welcome to stay and listen to the rest of the meeting. If you have things you need to get home to, that is fine too, so don't feel badly if you need to slip out.
Thank you.
Rest up.
All right. Sarah, do you have a report?
No report.
Oh, sorry.
Dr. Hart.
Oh,
Hart.
that's Sarah, sorry. Which Sarah? We have to be specific.
I do have one quick thing to mention. So as you know, we are underway with a review of executive functioning in Reading Public Schools, and that is an internal review that we're conducting this year. We have lots of data collection already underway. This is being led by Dr. Stice, by Director Allison Wright, and we've also had a number of really great staff in our district that are contributing and helping with the data collection. OTs, speech and language teachers, special education teachers. And recently this week, our latest form of data collection was to hold 2 different forums for families. And there were 2 different opportunities, one during the day and one in the evening. And those were helped to be coordinated by Jackie Pelusi, who's our inclusion specialist, and by Ali Sarno, who is a school psychologist up here at the high school. And the purpose of that was to talk to families and learn about the experiences they're having at home with executive functioning, also to provide them with a little bit of information about the review and about how we're defining executive functioning. So those were very successful. Lots of rich data was gathered. We also have been conducting staff surveys, observations within our schools, and so that review is moving along. Just wanted to update you on that.
Thanks.
Great. I would just like to thank and congratulate and send best wishes to Barbara Best, no pun intended, who's here tonight with us. So for those who don't know Barbara, Barbara is a doctoral resident in our office since the summer. She was in our member of our senior leadership team for the entirety of the year, working on a variety of projects at both the district and school level. Some of the common themes of Barbara's projects included managing change, leading teams, navigating conflict, building community partnerships, and she's really become an entrenched member of both our school district team and also the larger community. Barbara also backing up, has been in the district for the past 3 years. So she's a part of a 3-year doctoral program. In her first couple of years, she was on as a intern as part of gaining hours through the program, and then this last year jumped on with us as the full-time resident. As you may know, she's in a 3-year program. It's the EDLD program at Harvard. She's getting a joint degree from the Harvard Business School, Harvard Kennedy School, and the Graduate School of Education, and she'll be defending her dissertation, or capstone, next Thursday. So we are super excited for her. Then her last day in the district is on May 9th. So I would just like to thank Barbara for starting really 3 years ago, picking up the Children's Cabinet, which you'll hear about tonight, but then also having an even deeper impact on so many other projects across our community too. There are many places across the country that Barbara could have selected to do her residency and selected to do with us, which was just a huge value add for our community. I would just like, again, say I've learned so much from watching you as a leader too, the way you lead with warmth, empathy, authenticity. I think that all of us are walking away with different things that we feel like you have taught us or showed us or modeled for us as a team. So thank you. So a couple things also, I'd like to thank the Harvard Graduate School of Education for, this was a fully paid residency, so we did not have to pay anything to have Barbara with us for the entirety of the year, which is incredible. And Harvard's also committed to next year providing us with a full-time resident as well, Ramsey Merritt, who you may know too, so that's exciting for us. Ramsey has big shoes to fill. The dissertation or the capstone defense is open to the public, so if you want to come raise the heat on, no, I'm just kidding, support Barbara on this monumental time for her professionally. It's next Thursday morning. If you want to reach out, I can give you the Zoom link, or you can come live in person in Cambridge. But if you see Barbara, please thank her for her contributions, and you'll hear a little bit more about them tonight.
Awesome. Great. All right, reports, Carla?
Thank you. We had a joint forum with Killam and Recalc on April 2nd. There was a presentation in person. We're repeating that same presentation on Zoom on the 16th at 7 o'clock. There is a Zoom link if people want to attend. It is on killamschool.com. The vote is May 13th for anybody who is interested. I see some signs up for both projects right now. That's it.
Laura has no reports tonight, so you got to pass. All right, Sarah?
Still no report.
No report.
No report. I have no report, but I do want to thank the PAIR group, the Friends of Reading Metco, and the administration for what happened earlier this evening, which was we were able to watch the documentary Code Switching and then break into smaller groups for some really rich conversation. And I apologize that because of our meeting, it had to get wrapped up, but hopefully it's a launching pad for further conversations, so. Okay. So I would like to welcome up Officers Lewis, Vatcher, and Davis to give us an update on the school resource officers.
And don't forget the most important one.
I guess over here at this table. And Rusty, yes, Officer Rusty.
Cooper wanted to be here, but he had an appointment with his bed.
I'll forgive him.
All right, good evening, everyone. I'm SRO Mike Davis, recently just started. We're just going to present our work over the course of the last year and what we were going to accomplish going forward in the rest of the school year, as well as next school year as well. We'll start off, Officer Vatcher and Officer Lewis received state recertification as SROs. I am currently training with Officer Lewis in the high school to learn the role of the SRO and kind of get my feet wet in just getting involved with the parents, the school staff, and the kids in Reading Public Schools. I'm also currently training to get my certification as to become a certified SRO this week, so I'll finish that up tomorrow. SROs attended training from the FBI Boston on best practices on when responding to bomb threats and swatting calls at schools. We also have been working with the Reading Coalition to support and assist youth with mental health first aid training in the junior health classes. And we will also be working again with the coalition to teach Choose to Refuse, which is an opioid prevention in the Reading health classes as well this spring.
Hi, everyone. Officer Brian Lewis. I'm just going to touch on school safety and crisis response, things that we've been working on this year and in the past. So we have assisted the schools with ALICE drills at the high school and the middle schools, and as you heard from the student liaisons, we have another ALICE drill coming up at the high school next week. Officer Vatcher and I have led professional development classes on ALICE for our elementary schools, which is our ALICE drills are conducted with just school staff in elementary levels. There are no student participation in the drills. We have worked with the schools to continue to use the Comprehensive School Threat Assessment Guidelines, or CSTAG, which is a threat assessment tool that the schools use to help mitigate threats, so we are using that as needed. We continue to be part of the district crisis team and the RMHS core crisis team addressing safety issues as they come up. And a big project that we've been working on for the past few years is we worked with Dr. Stiles and the district, crisis team to roll out the recent overhaul of the district-wide incident response plans, which was a very daunting challenge for us. There was a lot of policies that had to be refined and combed through. But we wrapped that up and that was rolled out. And we actually rolled it out with a video that was sent out to all school staff, which was fun for us to participate in. Officer Vatcher and I had a good time recording those videos, and we're going to just say that we did it all in one take, right?
No bloopers.
No bloopers for that, but that was rolled out earlier this year. And again, we partnered with the Reading Police Civil Rights Officer and the Director of Equity and Social Justice to address any hate-based incidents that we come across here in the schools, which I don't believe there's been any this year.
Nope, that's a good thing. Hi, School Resource Officer Matt Vatcher. I'm just going to touch on the school and community engagement series. Is this not working?
Yeah, you need two.
I need two. I feel like a sports star. So I'm just going to touch on the school and community engagement season because we're in it now. First, obviously, Officer Lewis and I have been working alongside our bosses comfortably this year as well, Rusty and Cooper, melting the hearts of hundreds every day. It's social media and internet safety season. This is when I go to the elementary schools and present internet safety and social media safety to the 5th graders and incoming 6th graders. But I also have extended that to the 4th grade this year because children are getting devices at very young ages now, and group chats have become very popular in 4th grade, and we're already starting to see, behavior issues and device usage issues. So that's going to be starting. I already have one done, and I have one next week, one planned, and 2 yet to plan. Also next week, we'll be presenting alongside the U.S. Attorney's Office and Homeland Security to both middle schools. They have an internet safety presentation that we've done for a couple years now with the middle schools. It's very effective and popular, and we help out a little bit with that. They do most of the work, though. We're also doing, courtesy of the Coolidge PTO this year, we are doing an internet safety presentation for parents. It's pretty much going to walk them through safety measures they can take so their kids are safe on, say, Snapchat, all the social media apps, so parents know what to look for and what to safeguard against. Hopefully we get a good turnout. We actually extended that to Parker parents and the parents of 5th grade students who are moving up to 6th grade. It's also school lunch season. We have been serving school lunches at a few schools now, and we have 3 more to go. Us, alongside volunteers from the Reading Police Department, have always enjoyed serving lunches at the elementary schools and talking to the kids. I recently did a community helpers unit for all 3 Barrows kindergarten classes that I tend to do yearly, either the 1st grade or the kindergarten, which is fun. And all the PTO raffle winners are coming forward and wanting their ride to school. Dr. Malachevsky, I believe you still have a ride to school to give away to someone from the Festival of Trees that you won.
I do.
We should
It'd be quite the
collaborate.
look of me showing up to work, right?
We should collaborate on who we're going to give that to.
If you know someone who's deserving, I am happy to pass it along. So if
Okay,
you're
I
in
got
your
a
travels,
couple people in mind.
then I will give you the green light to pass my ticket along.
Okay. I'll keep you in the loop. Obviously, I think March was Read Across America Month. You guys probably did your fair share of guest reading at places. I did my fair share, and I did a couple of evening events at Barrows and Birch Meadow. And, we're looking forward to 5th grade moving on ceremonies, 8th grade moving on ceremonies, and graduation here at the high school, which lead us into the summer where we help organize and run the Reading Police Youth Academy for students going into 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade. It was very successful last year and popular, and hopefully we get a decent turnout this year.
One last thing that's not on this. Recently, we participated with the Reading Coalition and a peer leader group here at the high school called Rocket Leaders in Action, running a food drive at Market Basket. And it was a rainy, cold Saturday, and we were there for 3 hours, and I think we got six truckloads.
Yeah, about 6, I believe.
Of food and over $600 in donations, so that was a huge success.
That was the second one. We did one back
Yep, and
in,
we also did one right before Christmas in November, and that was also very successful. So shout out to the coalition and Michelle Hopkinson and her Rocket Leaders in Action for putting that together and getting it done. That's a huge, huge benefit to the community.
It's fantastic.
And that's it. And prom was good. Officer Batcher and I were at prom.
we're looking forward to senior prom.
Senior prom's coming up, that's in Gloucester, we're looking forward to that, and graduation. So hopefully we are incident-free and everyone's on their best behavior.
Yes.
Did Rusty wear his bow tie?
Rusty and Cooper.
Yep, they wore their
They wore the
ties.
same outfit. We try not to do that, but they, it's a rental, there's only so many options.
They need their own Instagram group to prepare, that doesn't happen. Does anyone on the committee have any questions or feedback for them?
Aaron, I'd just like to thank Lieutenant Abadi and also Chief Clark for their thoughtful approach to the transition to having the overlap between Mike and obviously Brian. I think has been really impactful, and I think is setting our community up for success. So I just appreciate both of your vision around that. I think has been really important, and also something that is just I don't think is written in here, but just like to thank the entire team for what I think is most important, just the visibility in our community too. I mean, being out greeting students, like every time I'm walking the hallways of the high school, at any of the schools, I mean, you're everywhere, talking to kids, engaging with kids, building relationships. So those connections are really powerful for our community. So just thank you for all of this, but also just thank you more importantly for the day-to-day leadership that you show in all of our communities.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And back at you, thank you all very much. It's always a pleasure to come in front of this group, and can't tell you how much we appreciate your support all the time. Just if I could take like a personal second, I would like to just say thank you also to Chuck Robinson. I missed the opportunity to celebrate Chuck. I was away, but he was very supportive. He was on the board when I first started as SRO too, so he's been very supportive of this program of me personally, and I appreciate the service and all the service you all give. You're a ton of time, and I can't tell you how much we all appreciate it. Thank you.
Has anybody ever cashed in a ride to school for middle school? Just curious.
No, I don't think I've ever done a middle school ride to school.
We actually have one we didn't win through the PTO. We won through Women's League, and I don't know. I'm thinking maybe we'll see if my middle schooler is bold enough to get her ride to school.
I bet they would like it.
Yeah.
That's special.
Yeah.
Well, we are grateful for all of you, and I especially appreciate that you put all this together. I think a lot of people know they see you and they see the dogs, but they don't necessarily grasp like how involved you are and how extensive it is and what a vital role you play in our schools. So thank you for coming tonight and articulating all of this so that people have more insight into that.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Careful.
All right, we will move on to our Children's Cabinet update. So I'll welcome up Barbara and Teresa.
Hi, everyone. I'm Teresa Wiggins. Can everyone hear me? Good? Okay. So I have had the pleasure of working alongside Barbara Best, and I'm just going to start off with a shout out. So the amazing leadership you have shown and taught to me, the ability to create an atmosphere and a space that just opens people up and gets people to the heart of the matter is special. So I've learned so much from working with you, and I'm going to miss working with you professionally, but you're stuck with me for life otherwise. So just a quick recap of what Children's Cabinet is, like in terms of definitions. It's, we're in year 2, but the idea is bringing together, we have over 25 stakeholders from the community, everything from students to parents to town leaders, YMCA, clergy, you name it, they're probably there. And we come together to identify where we can close maybe programming gaps or solve issues that kids are facing. And so year one was mostly about identifying what do we agree, what do we think are the issues, and through a process we determined and landed on two main buckets. And one was accessing resources, which I will speak to, and the other Barbara will speak to. So I've been facilitating the Accessing Resources group. And so really just how to look at, I always think about it we think about it in two ways. One, how can we build systems that improve access to resources across the board? But also, how do we also handle the acute needs that arise? It's multi-pronged. And so this year, our focus has landed on, within Accessing Resources, creating a family closet in town. So in thinking about, we've got Mission of Deeds for home goods and furniture, we've got food pantry, but we don't have, everybody does sort of like one-off clothing drives, which is wonderful, and people should continue to do that, but can we have a localized or centralized way to give families access to new or gently used clothing? So the idea is this will be open once a month for shopping. It'll be free, and it'll be run by volunteers. And we're working right now on logistics of securing the place. We're close, but there's some kinks to work out. And the idea would be volunteers would set up the space one day a month before it's open, and then it's open on a Saturday from about 10 to 12, and ongoing donations being able to be dropped off from the community. It's going to be called Reading Rethreads, and that's about it in terms of that process. But in the meantime, we're also always trying to kind of keep an ear to the ground of like acute needs that are coming up. For example, last summer, we helped with the St. Vincent de Paul food drive. So things like that come up, and just trying to help match what needs are coming up and how can we put feelers out to the community to get those needs addressed.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I am so deeply grateful to have had the honor of serving this community for the last 3 years, and there's such incredible generosity and the spirit of collaboration and the way people come together. It really is amazing, and I must thank Dr. Tom Milichewski. You have a gem, you know that, but I'm just going to say it. You have an absolute gem in your superintendent, who is so courageous and wise and strategic and thoughtful and genuinely kind, and it's been a gift to learn alongside you these last 3 years, so thank you. And to all of you, as was mentioned, just for the generosity of time, all that you give and do for this community. It's been amazing. And I've loved working with Teresa Wiggins, who is also a lifelong friend. But it's been amazing building the Children's Cabinet together and building on the strength of collaborative action in this community. So I've had the honor of working on the committee to cultivate school and community connectedness, and I've really appreciated your support of our approach to lead by listening. And so we held listening sessions, youth listening sessions, with 167 young people in 8 different affinity groups at Reading Memorial High School, reaching about 1 in 7 students, or 15% of the student body. I was really encouraged by the strong turnout. I mean, Rise Against Cancer, Girl Rising, politics clubs, the GSA, Students of Color for Equity, Inclusion, and Justice, the captains of sports teams. We had 48 captains come, DECA. It was amazing, the response. The Student Advisory Council, I met these 2 young people. Brilliant and amazing young people, and the turnout, 167 young people. So we talked about highs and lows. Where do students feel connected? Where do they not feel connected? What gets in the way of students feel connected? And what would they want to see? And I was really encouraged by it, because students really want to be in relationships. And whether you're in or whether you're out makes a big difference. And so we're looking now at ways to bring students together across the groups. The fact that you have these affinity groups meeting during the school day speaks volumes of a school culture that values the whole student. So for those of us who are at the Code Switching documentary, The Barriers of Transportation, students can come to these club meetings. There's 72 clubs at Reading Memorial High School. 90% of young people are involved in a club. That's a huge source of strength. A young woman in Girl Rising said, what's your advice to other students? She said, join a club. It gives you a support system to get behind you. So what are we doing in terms of next steps? Our partners at the Reading Coalition for Prevention and Support and the Reading Office of Equity and Social Justice have been amazing. They're going to keep the work going after my residency concludes. We're going to hold leadership cafe sessions to bring students together across affinity groups so that they can come up with their own action plans on how to build a community of belonging. The Reading Coalition is generously going to fund mini grants for student-led projects over the summer, and then we hope that this will culminate in a youth town hall in the fall. So I'm really excited and honored. It's been a gift for me to be here. I believe a lot in reciprocity, and so returning the gift, and I'm glad that the work is going to continue beyond my tenure through these amazing partnerships that you've supported. So thank you again. And I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm sure both of us are.
I'm not, but you're not. I know you're happy answering. I'm just kidding.
Does anyone on the committee have any feedback or questions for Barbara or Teresa?
I do. So Teresa, recognizing, you mentioned kinks to work out, do you have a sense for when you expect the Reading Rethreads to sort of go into action?
So I know that what's today's date?
The 10th?
I need to connect with a clergy member who is speaking with their church. So I it's a little bit dependent on what can kind of come from that team, because one of the ideas of Children's Cabinet is not that, we are not a 501c3, right, that can kind of do its own, come up with our own space. It's really about bringing all the stakeholders together and someone to raise their hand and say, oh, I've got this part of it, and another person to say, oh, I've got this part. So we're a little bit waiting on the space to work out. That being said, if those things happen quickly, we have a bunch of people ready and excited, and we have a vision for it. We have a bunch of supplies. I don't know, hard to say.
Fair enough, yeah.
Yeah, it could be in a month, it could be in 4, just depending on how the space works out, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
There's a follow-up.
Yeah.
What's the thought process about the once per month?
Mm-hmm.
And is the space, are they going to set up and break down every time, or is it going to be a space?
So if the space that we have in mind works out, and I'm not trying to be elusive with the space. It's just I don't want to speak out of turn if it's not. But it is something that can, for the most part, stay up and running, which is really nice, because there'll be some setup, of course, because we have to sort through donations and et cetera and lay them out. But for the most part, it can be a more or less devoted space to Reading Rethreads. So the once a month was a starting point. Because, with building a system, you don't want to bite off more than you can chew. And so just kind of seeing, okay, does this time frame work? Trying to consider location being accessible from train, if our Boston families could come, but also thinking about how could we help with access to the store, if you will, through other community members that can help shop for families that might not be able to get there, but it would be hopefully centrally located, and that once a month is really just a starting point. It may stay there or it may grow, but we kind of want to test out, does that time frame work? Does that answer your question? Yeah.
One for Barbara as well. So Barbara, you made a really great point about, the clubs and sort of how important it is that kids get engaged in clubs. And then thinking about the second piece of your focus area was, strategies to help middle schoolers thrive. We have some clubs and some after-school activities in middle school, but, not quite the same depth or breadth that we do at the high school. In your research or just in your discussions in the community, is that something we should be thinking about? How do we encourage, promote, finance, whatever that looks like, more of that? Does that feel like an unmet need?
Yeah, thank you for naming that. Absolutely. I think there is, and young people name this as well, the need for more connections in middle school. I was just blown away by the brilliance and the generosity of young people. The 48 sports teams captains, they take very seriously their leadership role. And so I added a bonus question. Looking back to middle school, thinking of yourself or a sibling or our community, what would you recommend? And they did recommend more connections in middle school to prepare young people to be leaders. That's what they said. more connections across the 2 middle schools, more connections across grade levels. They also talked about support in managing anxiety and developing strong communication skills to prepare students for high school. I think what the Reading Coalition is doing is amazing. The mental health first aid training, that's very powerful, and students have talked about that. Knowing who your 5 people are that you can call for your unique needs, that's very important, and so they've done a great job, and Principal Jess Callanan's been very supportive, a champion of bringing that into high schools. So how do we then get that into middle schools? And Dr. Tom Milichewski and Dr. Sarah Hardy have been great in giving us the opportunity. We presented the full listening sessions findings to the entire district leadership team, to all the building leaders, to all the principals, so they now know and they're thinking about how do we build these connections. But students also talked about building a culture of empathy, starting in elementary school. The gap, what gets in the way is an inability to hear and listen to different viewpoints. It's a societal lack of respect. And so how do we build that culture of empathy and respect and connections?
Thank you.
So thank you both. This is incredible, the work that you're spearheading here. I'm just curious, where does the Children's Cabinet go from here?
That's a good question. I'll punt that over to Tom.
Perfect. Yes, we had a conversation about this the other day too. A couple of things. I think for both pieces of work, we'll start with the buck for Teresa's bucket. We feel like once we have sort of able to get things in motion, would that feel like that's something that can sustain? Something that we feel like for on Barbara's side of the work is we feel like she's done an amazing job building the capacity of people in our district and in our community to be able to lead this type of work of learning through listening and giving a space for students to be able to share their perspectives and act on them. Now, what we feel like kind of the connection between all this is the leadership they've both shown behind the scenes. So we are having a meeting upcoming in the next couple of weeks with all of the organizations represented on the Children's Cabinet to say, in the future, we have to do one of 2 things. Either one, we need people in this group to step up to say, you want to be the leads of the Children's Cabinet, to be the ones to organize, facilitate everything moving forward. Or can everyone contribute a small amount of money to be able to make sure we can pay a facilitator, an outside facilitator, to continue the work? My guess is people will probably choose the latter. But the point of a Children's Cabinet is all of the work to support young people can't fall on schools. And time, in any sort, in resources, time, people, money. So if these organizations who are involved with us, part of it is that we all share the responsibilities to do this work together. So following that meeting, we'll have more kind of a clearer direction. My guess is they'll want to have an outside facilitator, sort of like we have, sort of hired Teresa and Barbara to lead this work. So I would then suspect someone to lead the work, Teresa's work to still continue through the sort of same structure it is now, and a lot of Barbara's work to then fall on Coalition, Office of Equity and Social Justice, and still continue members of our team.
Awesome. I would hate to see any of this fall through now that you've put so much work into it. Barbara, thank you so much.
Yep.
You've been such a gift to our district, and it's been really a pleasure getting to know you, and I really appreciate everything that you've done. This is, what a nice way to cap it off too, for you to be able to present here and talk about it, so thank you.
Thank you.
Barbara, do you mind sharing a little bit about what's just future work for you, just sort of what field you're sort of entering into, what you'd like to do, things like that?
I'm really passionate about bringing deep listening. I was just talking to Carla about this, actually. Bringing deep listening, compassionate understanding into systems. And so there's some professors at the Harvard Graduate School of Education who've been watching what we've been doing, and they want to do this. And like MGH has approached about having peer coaching, like 88 people signed up to do peer coaching. People really want these deeper relationships in systems. So that's what I'm looking to do, and we're going to finalize that, but it very much builds on this work. Building relationships, building deep relationships for work across lines of difference and to make a positive impact.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Please send good vibes on April 17th, Thursday, 8:30 a.m.
And I should have said earlier, Barbara's defense, so as part of the program, her capstone, which is called, is around a project that she's led in our community. So her capstone is all around the work that is, outlined here in short in the through the cabinet. So it's really exciting for us that this opportunity ties directly to our community. So best of luck, and Barbara's last day is May 9th.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we will turn it over to Sarah, Dr. Hardy, to talk about math pathways.
I did prepare a memo, which is in the packet, to give you some more detailed information. I'm just going to hit some of the highlights, and then I would love to answer any questions you have. So, as you know, one of the tasks that we continue to work on is ensuring that we have the strongest math instruction possible for our students. We know that high-quality math education for our students is essential for success in college, career, and beyond, and also really important for our students to feel successful in math and establish a strong math identity. And as we move through our math pathway, students start to sort of differentiate math courses that they might take in Reading starting in 7th grade. And the reason for that is just we want to ensure that students have access to the math courses that they need that will support them in their future goals and their disposition toward math. And so what we've been working on over the past few years is just to ensure that our pathway has lots of great options for our students, that regardless of where in their middle school or high school career they decide that they really want to take on an extra challenge in math, or that they feel ready for something a little bit different, that we have on-ramps for them. And then we also have been working really hard to ensure that for our students that are on the on-grade math pathway, that they receive exceptional, rigorous math instruction. So this year, one of the ways that we've been working on that, we continue to look at our 12th grade math courses for on-grade level. We want to make sure that when students get to 12th grade, that they have rigorous math options that will prepare them for what comes next. In the upcoming school year, we are making a small shift. In the past, we offered a course called Financial Algebra, and we are putting in place of that a course called Advanced Algebra with Financial Applications. And this course is similar in some ways, but it has a more rigorous math application, and it also provides like a deeper level of work around the financial aspect of things, where so in the previous course where students might have been given formulas and just sort of worked through problems, the new course actually helps students explore the meaning behind those formulas and have a much more in-depth understanding when they leave the course. Another adjustment that we've made this year based on sort of looking at how things went last year, we're going to continue to offer a number of options over the summer that will support our math pathway. One of those are some summer modules for our middle school students, and we offered that first last year. We were happy to get that launched and receive some really helpful feedback from students and families. So we've made improvements to those summer modules. Probably the biggest one that I will mention to you this evening is for our rising 8th graders. There'll now be sort of two paths in the modules. One will be for students who want to review that 7th grade material so they're ready for 8th grade. We hope all of our students will take advantage of that. And then the other path there will be for students who may want to go from 7th grade math into Algebra 1 in 8th grade. And that will not only review, but it will teach new material that the students would have had if they were in 7th, 8th grade math. And that will enable them to go ahead and take an assessment at the end of the summer to see if they've moved along enough to accelerate right at that point. Again, this summer, we're going to offer our Summer Honors Geometry course. If you remember, we launched that last summer. It avoids students having to double up in math if they want to accelerate their pathway when they're in high school. We had a really, great start to that last summer, but again, got some significant feedback from families and students and from the teacher of the course. So we've made some changes to the logistics. They'll still have the same number of in-person days, but what we're doing is we're putting some independent work weeks in between. We felt like students just needed more time to absorb the material. The other thing is that we felt like the summer course we offered previously didn't have enough algebra embedded in it. And our honors geometry class actually has a good deal of algebra embedded in it. And so to be ready for honors algebra 2, students really that would benefit from that. So that's another shift and another reason we needed the independent weeks. So that course is being developed right now. It's going to be taught by an RMHS teacher, and so we are excited to bring that back. One of the other avenues that we continue to work on each year is to ensure that our teachers of math are receiving strong professional development. Elementary, you've heard me talk a lot this year about the learning labs that are in place. In middle school, 7th and 8th, we continue to leverage our math coaches to work with our teachers there. And this year, our high school math teachers had a new professional learning opportunity that was brought in by the department head, and this was around the concept of guaranteed learning experiences. And this is exciting because it's the first time in my time here in Reading that really the math department is working together to say what are the things that we want our students to experience, developing some of that together, and then after students go through the experiences, coming back together to analyze what was successful and what changes might we need to make to support students. So we feel really good about the work going on there. And then the final bucket, which I think is an important one, is we continue to bring forward what I think is strong communication to parents and guardians. We want them to understand the process, understand that while we have sort of a set pathway, we also try as much as possible to embed different ways to go, depending on the individual student, and just making sure things are transparent and clear and sort of take the mystery out of it. And make sure that families understand too that our on-grade level math courses are going to be rigorous and very good options for students as well. And so we continue to develop our communication. That is something that will happen each year going forward. And we feel like that has made a difference in our ability to support families and students. So those, I think, are the highlights, but if there's anything I didn't talk about that you'd like to hear more about, happy to, or if you have questions.
So for the summer modules for the middle school students, are those entirely self-directed, including the ones that aren't just review, but also include the new material? Is there any support available for the students if they are going through, if they say they took 7th grade math, not 7th, 8th, and then they want to jump ahead and get into Algebra 1, is it entirely on the student to be able to process and get through those modules independently, or are there other support structures in place for that?
Great question. Yes, there will be other supports. That's one of the things we are still working out. Last summer, we tried a few different things. One of them was having one of our middle school teachers available once a week for a Zoom call.
Okay.
We had one student come on all summer once. So we're going to pivot because that wasn't clearly the right way. But what we did find last summer is we had a lot of kids that were emailing or messaging through the Google Classroom. And so that is something we can support again this summer. But we have a couple of middle school math teachers who are willing to do that, to sort of be checking in regularly, checking in with students. We also use an online system that can sort of grade, if you will, and so students get feedback right away. But then some of the more open-ended questions, we'll have staff also who are going on, taking a look and giving feedback. So again, we're able to customize it a little bit and trying to work within the constraints of what our students and families are going to access.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
More just a comment or piece of feedback. We're in the thick of the 6th grade, math thing. Aaron, I'm sure is as well. I don't have any past experience to compare it to, but I think the communication around it has been excellent. The sort of stage gauge approach has been really good. It's very clear, sort of, what's expected of parents, what's expected of students. I think it's been great. So kudos for kind of revamping how that works.
Thank you. I really would say our middle school principals have done an outstanding job putting together a presentation, but then I think also just at each step along the way, sort of inviting families in to know what's happening.
Yeah.
I'll just piggyback on that because I did make that point to Sarah before. So I have been through it twice before, and it was like night and day. I just regularly felt like we were getting updates on the stages. It was very clear the steps that were going to happen. It allowed me to have those conversations with my child, so it was very clear to my son. Phenomenal. Keep it up.
That's great.
I do have a question. I noticed, so it's wonderful to see that we had some higher numbers in 7-8 math in the current school year, but I noticed that Parker had 53 students. Was that in 2 classes?
I don't know that answer off the top of my head.
Okay.
Can I get back to you?
Yeah. It's wonderful if we are getting more students in. It's less wonderful if you have to have 27 kids in a classroom. So it would almost feel like a disadvantage to those kids. So I'd be curious, particularly because hopefully we're maintaining those kind of numbers.
Can I pick up on that question real quick too? Just also, this is on page 33 of your packet in case you're following along at home too. If someone were to ask me, are you encouraged to see, more students in Coolidge? You see the highest percent in the last 5 years of students in 7-8 math, and then a pretty, higher number, relatively high number at Parker as well. Is that encouraging? I would say, well, let's track how those students are doing over the next couple of years, because as we've talked about with the pathways, our goal is not just to get more kids in, algebra earlier. Our goal is to get them in algebra earlier if they're ready, right, and ensure that they're positioned for future success too. So I think we are very careful to say, like, the one metric that we're not just looking at to say, yes, more kids in early, 7-8 math, success. If we're seeing, because we know there's a lot of research on saying, don't push a kid too early into algebra as well. So we need to see track how these students are doing every year and ensuring that they are truly, that this was the right placement for them, right? So this is not the only metric that we can be looking at to say whether or not these shifts in pathways are, what we call successful.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. A parent asked me what happens if a student in 8th grade struggles with Algebra 1, and I said, they might very well repeat Algebra 1 in high school. Like, that would be an option if they, really had a tough time with it. I said, I don't know what the threshold is, but, yeah. I think the important thing is that there's the ability to go up and down, and at no point do you have to be locked at a level. That to me is the most important aspect of all of this. One other
Aaron, on that too, and we feel when we're talking to teachers and our school leaders that the students who are in these classes are ready, almost are for the right, and we feel that sort of the curriculum now, having IM for years, a lot of the investments that we've made in our younger students are going to start to pay off to have more kids who are ready. So again, I want the data to back that up, but I also did want to mention too, we feel like these are kids who belong here and can be successful here.
Yep. And we have our first freshman in Honors Algebra 2 this year, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I know. Two, but still, that's new. And so quick question, the math lab, did they end up finding a better location for that?
They did not.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's still here in the library? Okay. Have students been using it?
Yes, students
Okay.
have. I think, as I mentioned, one of the obstacles is if students don't have a study hall or a free period, they don't have access to it. So that
Yeah.
is a challenge with the current setup.
Yeah, okay. Well, as always, I really appreciate the efforts that are happening. It's really phenomenal how much has been implemented in a short amount of time and the impact that we're already seeing. So I am encouraged by that, and I thank you. All right. Last day of school.
Yes.
Do we need any preamble, or do you want a motion?
Can I give a tiny preamble just
Yeah.
in support of you?
Yeah.
So there was a rumor swirling around today that the vote was a choice by the committee to end on Friday, the 13th, or Monday, June 16th. So I just want to have your back to say that this is, unfortunately, it is a formality that school committee has to vote on the last day of school. We have to have, per DESI regulations, 180 days. And unfortunately, the 180th day falls on Monday, June 16th. So I am sorry that that's the way that the calendar fell, but I just do not want people to be upset to say, why did the school committee not decide to have Friday as the last day? I'm sure we would all love that, but that's not something that we could do.
I think Saturday, June 14th might be more popular than this, but this is where we are, so.
I wish I called a snow day. I don't know if that would have made people feel better.
I'm sure that's better.
I don't know. So
Yeah, I'll accept a motion.
Okay. Move to approve Monday, June 16th as the last day of school for school year 24-25.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, 5-0. We have an official last day of school on a Monday until 11 a.m. Sorry, everyone. Okay. Okay, so the first scholarship we are voting on is the David Savio Law Enforcement Scholarship. Do you want to make a motion?
Sure. Move to approve the expenditure of $2,051 from the David Savio Law Enforcement Scholarship to be provided to one senior in alignment with the scholarship criteria.
Second.
Seconded by
Seconded by Sarah. Any questions, discussion? Okay, all in favor? Passes 5-0. And the next one, Sean?
Move to approve the expenditure of $400 from the Arthur L. Spencer Scholarship to be provided to one senior in alignment with the scholarship criteria.
Second.
Seconded by Sarah. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? And that passes 5-0. All right.
Motion to adjourn?
Yeah, that's it. Seconded by Carla. All in favor? Okay, we adjourn.
It's your first meeting in under an hour, not bad.